Talk boxing now with James.
I'm Wes Brown and I listen to Salford City Radio.
Well, Paul, you joke every now and again about your predictions, but James DeGale versus Chris Eubank Jr. is one you nailed down to a T. You were exactly right. James DeGale had dropped off the pace slightly and Chris Eubank Jr. was a little bit too much for him. What did you make of the fight?
Yeah, well, I think we spoke, didn't we, the week before, and DeGale was sort of talking about retirement and things like that, and I don't want to say he took his eye off the ball, but I think he had that sort of doubt in his mind. And at 33 years of age, I think Chris Eubank just seemed a bit fresher and a bit hungrier, I think, for the win. And he came up there, and he can go on to better things now at Eubank. I know he's 29, I think, himself, so he's no spring chicken. And I think he needs to get into the big fights, sooner rather than later. But it was disappointing for James DeGale because he's been a good champion, a good world champion, been in some really tough fights, and that was another tough 12 rounds that he did there. But I think now at 33, calling time in his career is probably the right decision.
Yeah, James DeGale never quite got that unbelievable night in the UK, but across the pond he got some terrific nights in the United States. He's a world champion 2 times over and an Olympic gold medalist. Do you think now that he's called time on such a great career, we're going to look back fondly and give him the credit he really deserved?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's been a really good champion, James DeGale, and going back all those years when he had that fight with George Groves, that was a very sort of contentious one and one that could have gone either way. And I know he was a bit miffed about that at the time, but like you said there, I don't think he ever got that night at home. Certain fighters have had great fights at Wembley and places like that, and he never sort of got that homecoming fight that all fighters sort of want. So he perhaps will regret that later in his career. But I don't think he can take anything away from, like you said, there, Olympic gold medalist, and to be a world champion, in any level of any weight of the sport is no mean feat. And I think DeGale will go down as a really, really top fighter.
Yeah, this week in America, we've got another big fight at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas. About 100,000 people will be there to witness Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence live. It's drawn a lot of speculation, this fight. Some people thinking Mikey Garcia with the skill might be able to do enough to beat Spence. But if you're in my camp, I think Spence is going to be far too big on the night. Paul, how do you see this one going?
Well, it's going to be a great fight. You've got 2 fighters who are at the peak of their careers, really, both a similar age as well, both unbeaten fighters. Mickey Garcia 39-0, I think Errol Spence about 24, 25, isn't he? So, and they're both coming on the back of impressive wins. You look at Errol Spence, he's beaten Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook, Leonard Bundu, Chris Algieri. They're all household name fighters, and Mickey Garcia, Robert Easter and Adrian Broner, they beat everyone that has been put in front of them. So now they're both putting that on the line to face each other. I'm with you. I think Errol Spence will edge this one. I think it's going to go all the way. It's going to be a great fight, a mouth-watering fight, and it's one of those fights in boxing that everybody craves. 2 fighters putting everything on the line, putting their unbeaten record on the line, the peak of their careers, and facing off against each other. But it's one of those. It's one of those that could go either way. But it's going to be a really, really top fight.
Yeah, last boxing one of the day for you, Paul. After months of speculation, it's finally been announced. Our hometown hero, Anthony Crolla, will be travelling out to Los Angeles on April the 12th to take on pound-for-pound great Vasily Lomachenko. Now, I'm assuming you're right behind Anthony, and I think a lot of us are slightly annoyed about the amount of people on social media who are criticising him for taking such a good fight. I think that he deserves this opportunity, and do you think he can take it, Paul?
Yeah, well, I think you're absolutely spot on. These people that criticise boxers, particularly on social media, are not the ones who are going to be getting in the ring and taking the punches. And nobody can say anything about Anthony Crolla. In my opinion, I think he's been a true champion. He's an absolute warrior, and he's not frightened of anybody. And he'll do himself proud, Anthony. I'm not so sure whether he'll have the skills to beat Lomachenko. You look back at Anthony, and when he fought Jorge Linares in both the fights, he's probably a step above Linares. And you look, Lomachenko beat Linares in 10 rounds, didn't he? So is Lomachenko that step above Anthony? He possibly is, but we don't do boxing and we don't do sport on paper, do we? It's all about on the night. And if Anthony can upset him on the night, you've only got to look back at the fights against Darlis Perez and Ismael Barrosa. Barrosa blew so many fighters away. He got in there with Anthony, and he did him with that body shot, and it only takes something like that on the night, and that's what we're all going to be hoping for, supporting Anthony. But he's coming into the back of this on equally impressive form as Lomachenko. Lomachenko's beaten Pedraza, Linares and Redondo. You look at Crolla, he beat Dow Jordan, Edson Ramirez and Ricky Burns. Equally good fights. Probably not guys in the same class as Lomachenko, but it's going to be another great fight, another very emotional night, I think, for British boxing fans. I mean, how can you not like Anthony Crolla? He's a lovely bloke, great guy out of the ring as well, and I'm sure the British public will be behind him. But people on social media, I mean, I don't know how many fights have those people had. I'm not so sure, but Anthony's been a great champion, and I'm just hoping he can get over the line. And I think it'll be one of the best wins in British boxing history if he can come away with a win.
Thanks, Paul, for joining us. As ever, next up on the Sportszone, we're talking all the UFC.
Hello, this is David Sullivan Jr. You're listening to Sportszone on Salford City Radio.
Well, UFC 235 in Las Vegas was certainly an eventful one. Jon Jones, the greatest of all time, in a lot of people's opinions, took on Anthony Smith, and it was a relatively comfortable win for him. James, what did you make of the fight? And also, I know you're not a fan of the man himself.
No, I'm not a fan of the man himself. I saw him on Joe Rogan, I've seen him in many interviews, and every time he disappoints as a personality. How many fighters are listed in the UFC, do you think? About 1,000, maybe 2,000?
Yeah, no, around.
The odds of one of them being a sociopath are pretty good. There he is. I can't stand Jon Jones, but like you said, he's one of the greatest ever, and he walked it. He walked it in the octagon.
Yeah, as a man, do we focus on his talent? We know he's so inventive inside the cage. He can out-wrestle wrestlers, out-grapple a submission artist, out-strike the boxers. He's incredible. Or should we focus on what he's done in his personal life? Multiple failed drug tests, some recreational drugs, some performance-enhancing drugs. He's also committed hit-and-run incidents. He's not the best person in the world. Which should we be focusing on? And is he a good role model for kids coming through?
So the last one, absolutely not. He's not a good role model at all. And even if they like it or not, these fighters, football players, all sportsmen, they are role models, even if they don't realise it. But it's like you say, the stuff he's done is unforgivable outside the ring. In the ring, he's amazing, and I think that's what we should focus on, because it's about the sport. We are there to watch the sport. We're not there to watch them as a person. But the stuff he's done outside the ring, where he left the woman, the pregnant lady, in the car, went back to get his phone, and then left her there. And every time he brings it up, he's not sad or angry at the fact that he left her. He's sad and angry at the fact he got caught, and that's what irks me. I really don't like him, but he's one of the greatest ever to ever step in there, and I think that's what we should focus on.
Now, the Ultimate Fighting Championship is exactly what it says on the tin. The greatest athletes in the world competing against one another. So I suppose when we see somebody outside of the promotion who we believe to be one of the best, it's slightly frustrating. And that is exactly what happens with Ben Askren. He's won world championships in other organisations. He's finally made his way to the UFC at age 34. It was better late than never at the weekend. There was so much pressure on him to prove that he is in fact as good as people have made him out to be. And it all nearly went wrong so early into the fight. He took a Robbie Lawler. He was thrown on his head inside the first 20 seconds, took a severe ground and pound, showed incredible heart to survive, and then ended up choking Robbie Lawler unconscious. James, what did you make of the performance? And was the stoppage slightly premature? Robbie Lawler wasn't out cold.
It was controversial, wasn't it? It was. I thought that Lawler did look like he went limp after that terrible start from Askren. It's like we said, we were talking before. If the ref would have stopped it then, we'd have had no query. We would have had no beef with it. It would have been a just decision. I thought Askren was all over the place in the first round. He was shook, he was scared, but he came back into it, he defended well. And with that stoppage, it was controversial, man. You've seen that ref. He's been doing it for years. He makes a lot of good calls. Like you see the same group every time they come out, and every now and then you're going to make a bad call. And I think it was a difficult one to make because, I don't know about you, but Lawler looked out to me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely down and out. But as soon as he called it, he sprung right back up, and you thought it could have gone on for maybe another round, and who knows what would have happened. But fair play to Askren for surviving that first round and turning it around and actually beating such a man like Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, absolutely. Great card. It'll be interesting to see where Jones and Askren go next. Kamaru Usman also beat Tyron Woodley for the welterweight world title. At UFC London this week, we've got an excellent co-main event in Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson, but the main event is Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. Now, Michael Bisping was a terrific star for our country, but his time is over now when he came away from the sport with a world title. We all need to get behind Darren Till now, the next generation. He's coming through. I think he'll outstrike Jorge Masvidal, and I think he'll win via knockout at the weekend. And the Scouser will be the first ever Liverpudlian world champion, hopefully, in the next couple of years. And we're coming up on the Sportszone next. We're talking all about the darts.
Hi, I'm Daniel Murray from the Salford Red Devils, and you're listening to Salford City Radio.
I'll tell you what, guys, in Aberdeen, it was certainly an interesting night. First things first, Matt. Rob Cross defeated Michael Smith 7-3. He was your pick for the tournament outside of Michael Van Gerwen. He's in the top 4. Michael Smith is struggling. He's near the bottom of the table. What did you make of the match and its implications on the league?
Yeah, James, I thought it was a great game from Rob Cross, to be honest with you. I think his calmness and collectiveness got in Michael Smith's head a little bit, and Michael Smith started really well, but just let himself go. He let his frustration, his anger get in the way of it and ended up slipping. And it's a great game from Rob Cross off the back of a win last week after his demolishing from Van Gerwen 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Wardy. James Wade, I think we were talking earlier, his career looked in absolute tatters just over a year ago, but he's come back in extremely good fashion, winning 2 majors last year, and now he's atop of the Premier League. He defeated Daryl Gurney 7-0 on Thursday night, and what an impressive win he created. Could he actually win the Premier League this year?
No one was as shocked as I was to see him back at this level doing what he used to do so well. I thought he was so out of the game, washed up, never going to challenge again, but you saw his performance 7-0 and it was comfortable. I think if he keeps up his recent form and if he keeps it in the big games, in the games where it matters most, why not? I think he's got every chance.
In other results, Gerwin Price, the Welshman, defeated Mensah Suljovic 7-3. Peter Wright defeated Raymond van Barneveld 7-3 as well. And Matt, the big one, the finale of the night. John Henderson, the contender, had an amazing moment in front of a home crowd when he drew with Michael Van Gerwen 6-6. And that atmosphere is what sport's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, what a game that was. That'll probably go down as the best game in the Premier League this season and probably one of the nights of John Henderson's career, to be honest with you. In his hometown, to get a draw against the world number 1, a man who's won the Premier League 4 times. It was absolutely a great game and a great atmosphere from the crowd as well.
Yeah, some crackers coming up in Nottingham this week. Nathan Aspinall, the UK Open winner, takes on Michael Smith. James Wade is back against Mensah Suljovic. Rob Cross takes on Raymond van Barneveld. The Welshman Gerwin Price takes on Michael Van Gerwen. And Peter Wright takes on Daryl Gurney. That's all for the darts this week. Coming up next, it's the football.
I'm Wes Brown and I listen to Salford City Radio.
So lots of football chat on the Sportszone the next 9 minutes. Let's go back in time to the Man United and PSG. James, fantastic result for Manchester United, going through and away goals there.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. United looked completely down and out in the first leg, but as they show with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a man who's produced late comebacks himself as a player, he's done it now as a manager. Manchester United, I thought, were excellent and showed incredible team spirit. Lukaku scored 2 good goals and Marcus Rashford scored the penalty in the 90th minute. Incredible for all the fans. What an away day it was. But my question for you, Rob, is, was it a penalty?
Yes, I think it was. I think his arm moved away from his side, James, and you've got to give it. That's what VARs are about, isn't it, Wardy?
I agree. I think it's harsh. I think it's very harsh. I think if we're not in Europe and if it's not VAR, it's not a penalty. But you saw it in the World Cup. VAR was used in these big dramatic moments in a kind of way of promoting VAR. I think it is a thing. They want to promote VAR as the most dramatic game-deciding element. They want a new form of drama, and that was what we feared with VAR. We were wondering, well, is this the controversy and the talking points being eradicated from football? But that PSG game proved in itself that it just adds even more talking points.
There wasn't a massive sort of reaction, Matt. You know, a lot many people appealed for the handball. It's a bit of a surprise when it came in, though.
I think the reaction wasn't there because of how crowded the area was. Dallo saw it and Dallo appealed immediately, extensively as well. And I think it is a foul. It's a big debate. I'm not too sure why. Not a foul, sorry, a handball. And it's a big debate. I'm not too sure why, because it strikes his arm. It's a crucial moment in the game, and it's necessary to give those things. That shot was going on target. You don't know what could have happened, and I think it's definitely a penalty.
Yeah, and then at weekend they went away to Arsenal, lost 2-0. James, lots of chances not taken. Do you think it was a European hangover? What do you reckon?
Yeah, potentially. I didn't think Manchester United played too badly, actually. I don't think it was like a demolition job from Arsenal. Look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's had such a terrific run, and eventually it was going to come to an end. But as we showed against PSG when we lost, we came back better. I'm hoping that's exactly what's going to happen now. One loss isn't going to define our season like it would have done potentially under Jose Mourinho. I think whatever our next game is, I think we win it, and we win it comfortable.
Yeah, 5th in the league now, Matt. Still in the mix with Spurs and Arsenal and Chelsea. Better get back to winning ways.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. I think the loss was bound to happen eventually. When you think with the win against PSG, the only loss on Solskjaer's record becomes obsolete, really, and it's almost an unbeaten record again. So it was bound to happen. I don't think it would change the top 4 race too much. It makes it a bit tighter, but I still think United are the best team of the bunch, and probably Spurs as well.
Yeah, Wolves in the Cup, Wardy. Hopefully win there.
Yes, really tough place to go, Wolves. They have proved this season that they are no pushover. They've come with a new team, very Portuguese team with a great manager, and they play explosive, quick, attacking football. They fear no one. And I think they'll want to win this FA Cup. I think they're here to send a message. They're 7th in the Premier League. They're the best of the rest. And I really do think they're sending out a message. And I think United should be fearful going to Molineux. I really do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's talk Man City. They beat Watford 3-1. A hat-trick from Raheem Sterling, James. Good to see City keep winning, keep the pressure on at the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all the media stick Raheem Sterling gets, you can't excuse the fact that he's just an incredible player. Really is. Manchester City need momentum. We're hoping that obviously they're going to push Liverpool close. And I think with performances like that, they're bound to.
Yeah, a lot of bad news though for City over the last few weeks. Rumours of Pep Guardiola going to Juve, Wardy, and also City being investigated by UEFA and the Premier League over financial worries. You think that's going to affect him with the games to come?
Maybe not with the recent games to come, no, in the near-distant future, but I did a bit of research, and it was reported that 12 clubs wrote into the Premier League bosses snitch basically on City and their spending and complain about how it's not fair. And I even believe one of them clubs was Liverpool, and I don't think they can really talk with the amount of money they've spent. But I think Pep will stay. I think City will win the league again this year, and they may even challenge for the Champions League. I think Pep will stay. I think he's getting a bit of a dynasty, a legacy here at City, building them into something new, the next level. And no, I don't think he'll go Italy, but I do think they will get whacked with a hefty fine maybe for the financial fair play. They got done in 2014, and they got a reduced squad going into the Champions League, and it's reported if they get found guilty again, they might not even be allowed in the competition at all. So we'll see. It could prove treacherous times for City, but who knows?
Yeah, got Schalke at home, Matt. Team news for us, have you got it?
Yeah, Ederson in goal. The back 4 is Danilo, Kyle Walker, Aymeric Laporte and Zinchenko. No Fernandinho still, so the midfield 3 is Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan and David Silva. And the dynamite front 3 of Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero and Leroy Sané up top.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. Hopefully they'll get a result there. Let's just switch our attention to our local sides. Matt, Salford City FC won 2-0 against Solihull Moors at weekend. Great result for them.
Yeah, really important win as well, with Solihull being just above them. I think only 1 point above them now. They've gone on a nice little run since we've not been on the show, Salford. 3 wins in a row since that tough spell from the beginning of January. Another couple of winnable games coming up. Hopefully they can put a run together and maybe push towards the top of the league again. Yeah,
club captain Liam Hogan, Matt, first goal of the season, also got involved in the team of the week. Shows how important he is to Salford.
Yeah, a crucial player, and they'll be hoping that he stays fit for the rest of the season.
Like Matt said, Wardy, 3 points against Solihull. They're in 4th place at the moment. They've got Wrexham in the mix as well. How important is it they keep winning?
Oh, it's the most important thing in any sport, isn't it? The winning mentality, the winning attitude. They've had a very topsy-turvy season, Salford. When they win, and when they lose, they lose. I know that sounds a bit basic and a bit obvious, but when they're on a winning streak, they keep going and they really let the momentum take them. But when they lose, they're down there, and it seems like they'll never get out. It lasted a while, but they're out of it now. And I hope the winning ways continue, and I'm sure so do they. Yeah, Aldershot away at weekend, James. Important that they keep winning, because obviously if they go into trying to get automatic promotion, you've got to get results like that and win. Absolutely, and as Wardy says, they had that spell of being down and out, but now that they're back, they need to capitalise. They can't really afford at this stage of the season to keep losing games, so the victory is absolutely pivotal if they want to make it into those automatic promotion places. Obviously, Matt, you're our Salford EFC expert. You know, looking back at the season, we've got a minute to go, so let's not have a memory blank. Hopefully, you know, would you have expected that at the beginning of the season, being competitive at the top? It's hard to say, really. I mean, they've put big money into it, but it's been a great season. I don't know if anyone really predicted this, but let's hope they can keep it up. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We're all behind them at Salford City Radio, aren't we, James?
Yeah, absolutely. We are. All the local sides, your Salford, your City, United, even Earlham were behind all of them.
Yeah, Earlham FC, unfortunately, Wardy got their match postponed due to rain problems at, that kind of level, for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I played Sunday League for 12 years, and the amount of games that got called off because of rain it's unholy. But it does show and really highlight the amount of money that needs to be put into this kind of level of football that just doesn't get the money it deserves.
Yeah, big thanks for joining us on the Sports Zone on Salford City Radio. I've been Rob Parkinson, and we'll see you next week for more Salford Sporting Chat.